Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'll be showing you how I passed my third Ftmo account. And this is in fact a 100k US dollar challenge, 80k euros. Today I'll be giving you some detailed statistics based around this challenge, including the pairs that I traded, the average lot size that was executed, the average risk to reward, and my win rate overall on this challenge. Just to give a brief introduction on what Ftmo are. Ftmo are a company that provide capital to skilled and experienced traders. They're a prop firm based out of the Czech Republic, and they have multiple traders spanned around multiple continents around the world. So Ftmo, they have upped their game a lot in the last few months. They have increased their profit share to 80-20. So you keeping 80% and them receiving 20%. This is really good, as the previous profit split was 70-30. So an extra 10%. So this gives traders like myself extra capital to spend on, we can put it into our personal accounts or indeed into other projects. So let's get into some statistics based around this Ftmo challenge. So as you can see here, I started off with my first trade and got into roughly 0.5% drawdown. This was quickly clawed back within my second trade. And then after my second trade, it was pretty much clean sailing, and it was a pretty much steady profit curve, except from a little dip that we had here. But as you can see, it was kept mainly below 1%, and then we did recoup that loss and then continued on to pass the challenge. So let's go on to the objectives. The minimum trading days to pass the Ftmo challenge is 10. I actually passed it in 12, but given that I took an extra two trades on the weekend just to increase the process, it turned out to be 12. So my max daily loss was around 2% overall, which is pretty good. I kept it well below the 4,000 max loss. My max loss overall for this trading account was minus 969 euro, well below the 8,000 euro. So this demonstrates, how good my risk management was throughout this challenge, and how you can really nail down your risk management to benefit you and your trading. And as you can see here, the profit target was reached, 8,000. So let's get into some statistics. On this trading challenge, I did indeed receive an average profit of 915 euros. My average loss was 342. So roughly 1 to 3, as you can see here, 2.70 was my average risk to reward, which is really good. You really need to nail down your risk to reward, especially if you're an experienced and skilled trader. This is what will kind of set you up for long-term trading. You need to nail down your risk to reward and make sure that it's above 1 or always, unless you do indeed, which I have seen a lot of traders have a high win rate of, let's say, 90% and above, and then you kind of have a bit of breathing room where you can lower down your average risk to reward to below maybe 1 or, but personally I like to keep it above 1 or. As you can see, my expectancy was 422 euro per trade. So this is a prediction on each trade. So going into each trade, Ftmo had predicted that I would make 422 euros. Some of these statistics are actually skewed, as my win rate was in fact 80% and above, as I'll go into in further detail throughout this video. So as you can see here, I also executed on 19 trades throughout the challenge within 12 days. So this is less than 2 trades per day. So let's start off on the 25th of October. This is where in fact I started the challenge. I actually finished the day here in around 0.5% profit. The following day, I ended in 1.5% profit. And as you can see here, you can do the numbers yourself. It was a pretty steady equity curve. So 1,800 here. Then the 28th of October, 800. Then as you can see here on the 30th and the 31st, these days were actually a Saturday and Sunday, and I chose to execute micro lots on XRP. So you can choose kind of any crypto. And I use this, just to increase the process, as I didn't want the process to take too long, as I was quite confident as I had passed 2 challenges previous to this. So I wanted to increase the amount of trades I took just in case I passed it beforehand and I wasn't executing micro lots during a trading week. So this is a little tip, that you can use if you have started your Ftmo challenge and you want to increase your trading days. So as you can see here on the 1st of November, we also ended that day in roughly 1% profit. 2nd of November was actually quite low. I actually broke my plan that day. I executed on a lot more trades than I should have, but the main thing was that I didn't incur any significant losses. The following day, I did indeed stick to my plan, and unfortunately for that day, I took a small loss. But overall, I seen the bigger picture, and on the 4th and the 5th of November, I pretty much smashed through the challenge and passed on the 5th. So overall, as you can see here, it took me from the 25th of October to the 5th of November, roughly 10 trading days, and the 2 other trading days were executed on the weekend. So let's get into the trading journal. So let's start from the bottom. As you can see here, I only have 1 page to go through, as my trades were quite small. The amount of volume that I executed on regarding the amount of trades was quite small. So as you can see here, I started off the challenge roughly in a small loss around 0.5%, but this was quickly recouped on the next trade. So gaining around 1,060 euro. So this is how you can keep your losses quite small and execute still on those high probability trades. This was in fact a fine trade, and just the probability wasn't there for this trade, and I managed risk really well. And then as you can see here, not getting caught up in emotions, not getting caught up in FOMO, I then proceeded to take another trade, changed my bias, and it worked out perfect. I believe I actually got caught out in a fake out here and then executed on the actual fake out on my next trade. So as you can see here, with these 2 trades placed both on the 26th of October, I actually had a trailing stop loss for this trade, and it tagged me out, but I still secured some profit. This is important, as I was looking for around 20 pips on this trade, but unfortunately my trailing stop tagged me out, but still secured profits. Not a big deal. The same with this trade, as you can see here. So let's touch on to some of these trades. I executed mainly these trades around London session, just due to my time frame and being GMT. This is the best kind of trading session for me with the most volume. I can also trade in New York, which some trades were executed in New York, but majority were executed around London time frame, around London Open, proceeding into kind of pre-New York time. So as you can see here, really steady growth, 1%. This is really key. And then you can see here the trades that I did in fact execute on the weekend. These were XRP trades just to increase the process. And then we touched on to Monday, and then we did in fact catch GJ cells. I also executed on the day a trade the following day, and then I took a break-even trade. So this is where your statistics can kind of be a bit skewed on Ftmo. This is in fact, a break-even trade right here. Then I actually took a pretty significant loss of around 1.2%, but I did manage this trade and I cut the trade short. This is key, especially if you're some of your profits are a little bit smaller, just that you manage the risk and don't eat into your profits. So as you can see here, another break-even trade. And then the same day, I also executed 15 lots on a really good setup that I like to see, and I've back tested multiple times. So when you get those setups, you know, you can add extra risk, which I did here. I mainly like to stick to a fixed lot size for this challenge, which was 12 lots. But because I was so confident in this trade and I back tested it multiple times and it was in my trading plan, I increased the lot size roughly by around 10 to 20%. Not too much at all, but I was a lot more confident. And as you can see here, I secured profits in around 13, 14 pips. Now let's touch on to the 3rd of November, where you can see these trades here. This was in fact one trade and I managed the risk. I took off half of the position of the trade and then eventually closed the other half quite soon after. So this is where, again, your statistics can be quite skewed. And overall, you know, the win rate was well above 80%. But because Ftmo calculated this trade as 2, you know, this counted as basically 2 losses towards the win rate. So then proceeding on to the 4th and the 5th of November, as you can see here, really took 2 really nice trades, secured one at around 14 pips, and then the other on the 5th at around 13 pips. So roughly around 1.2% on both trades. And then this, in fact, made me pass the challenge. I will touch on to these trades a little bit more and show you kind of the entries behind them and how, in fact, they did run a lot more than the specific target that I secured. So I'll be touching on, you know, how to let your runners run and how you can leave kind of some percentage on the table to secure those extra profits. But because this was a challenge, you know, I wanted to secure the profits kind of as soon as possible and pass the challenge as soon as possible so I could proceed on to my 3rd Ftmo challenge. So that's all the trades that I took, 19 trades. Let's touch on to, you know, some more detailed statistics based around this challenge. So as you can see here, my favorite, just to note that these hours here are around 2 to 3 hours behind. So my favorite kind of time zone was indeed London session, proceeding into New York. As you can see here, these are good statistics that you can use in your favor because you can really nail down on the losses that you're taking, and you can kind of dive into the statistics based around your losses a lot more deeply, and you can kind of implement that into the next few trades, keeping that in mind. What time you took the trade at, was there volume, were you trading outside your session, little statistics like that will benefit you and your trading in the long run. So overall, I took sales which were a lot more profitable, around 7k, and the buys were roughly 1,000. I wouldn't look into this too much because, you know, different market conditions during different time periods. This 2 months beforehand, a lot of my trades were buys on pound yen, but this time we were in kind of bearish structure and bearish market conditions. So a lot of my trades were indeed sells. So let's touch on the volume traded. As I said, I tried to stick to a fixed lot size throughout this challenge of 12 lots. And as you can see here, this was amplified in the results. Overall, I executed on 12 lots and the result was 6,500. And then as you can see here, going into kind of lower lot sizes, roughly 15 lots. That was the trade which I had a lot of confidence in. And as you can see here, some more statistics. So the main symbol that I traded during this challenge was pound yen. I specifically only traded this pair, and just to mainly because, you know, this is the pair that I've been trading the last 4 years. It gives me a good amount of percentage return, so I don't need to delve into other pairs. I'm really happy with pound yen. I do trade gold as well on my personal account, but because this was a challenge, I really wanted to nail down this challenge within the given time frame, and I wanted to stick to those high probability setups, which I'm kind of really good at finding on pound yen, where gold can be kind of tricky sometimes, especially for beginner traders. I'd recommend them going to pairs such as, you know, Euro CHF, kind of Swiss pairs where there's a lot of low volume. So as you can see here, XRP was also another symbol, but I only took 2 trades on that, and that was to increase the overall challenge process. So there's some of my statistics. As you can see, throughout the challenge, I only had 1 trading day, which was a loss on 3rd of November, and the loss was really minor. So let's touch on, I want to show you some of the trades I took on this challenge. Some were kind of handpicked as my best trades, and that you may in fact be able to implement into your trading plan, or, you know, your trading challenge. So let's zoom out here. Let's start off with this trade that I did in fact take on the 5th of November. As you can see here, execute at roughly 15323, and, you know, we were approaching London time frame where there was a significant amount of volume in the markets. We did in fact fake out at this level and then proceeded to come down to our target of around 15309, so roughly around 15 pips. So this is a good trade, and in fact it ran a lot more, but as I said, and as I touched on, I wanted to secure these profits a lot quicker just to pass the challenge. And in fact, some of these trades that I'm showing you now, I had runners on my personal account and they ran really nice and secured extra percentage and extra profit. So as you can see here, on the 4th of November, I took a trade at 15533. As you can see here, this was based on London Open. We did in fact, again, fake out at London Open, and we were closing below ranges, and we did in fact have clean candles coming all the way down. I executed this trade right here on the 15-minute time frame with a really tight stop of around 9 pips, and secured, you know, at around 13-14 pips. So let's just move this up to where I secured around here. So keeping the stop pretty tight, around 2 hour. So let's touch on this trade, and I believe I have to drop down to the 15-minute on this trade. So as you can see here, let's just zoom in. We were closing below ranges like here, and we did in fact have clean candles coming down. So this is where I executed this trade, and as you can see, we're pretty minimal drawdown, secured profits quite quick. As you know, we are approaching a lower volume times, you're approaching kind of London close, and I wanted to be out of the trade, but in fact it did keep on running. And as I said, this is where your runners can keep on running and keep on eating and making those extra percentages. So touching on to the last trade, we will see, I believe it was executed on the 29th, and this is a really nice trade. So as you can see here, it was executed roughly at 15693. So let's just show you that. 15693 on the 29th of October. 15696 it actually was, so I actually got a slightly better entry. So let's adjust that. And I did in fact secure profits at 156. Yeah. So there you go, the 27th it was, and I secured profits at 15678. I believe 27th, 15681. So let's adjust this. So as you can see here, around the 1.314 risk to reward, keeping that risk to reward above 1 hour always. I actually had to use kind of a tighter stop for this trade. It was executed at market price, and I kind of kept it in the range, you know, not above this candle, because if I did keep it above, it would have been less than 1 hour. So I actually moved it down to around 15709, just keeping that stop a little bit tighter. So this is a really nice trade, and as you can see here, it actually kept on running really nicely around 8 hour, and this is where my profits on my personal account really kind of secured more profits and kept on eating and running. So I'd always advise to leave around 10 to 20% running on the table if that's what you want to do and if that's your comfortable level. Otherwise, you know, leave 5% running just to see what you can achieve with runners. Overall, it does get cut out a lot of the times. Roughly 80% of the time your runners will in fact be stopped out, but the other 20% does make up for it. As you can see here, I believe on my personal account I gained around 2% off this trade, and my runners actually secured another 2% with only leaving 20% on the table. So there's some of the trades that I took during the challenge. So just to touch on the challenge again, and just to give a few tips for any traders that are taking the challenge. The main thing is that you have invested in education, and you're not just taking this challenge, you know, because you think you can pass it. You won't pass it if you haven't educated yourself, or you haven't made a given trading plan for yourself, or put in the hours. You will not pass this challenge. Make sure you kind of keep your volume and your trading size a little bit smaller than usual if you're not that confident. But because I was so confident in my trades, and because I passed 2 challenges beforehand, I kind of kept my lot size at what I'd use on my other challenge accounts or funded Ftmo accounts. I kept it at that, as I was pretty confident that I'd pass it within the given time frame, and I kind of wanted to increase the process by adding some extra risk to trades that I was a lot more confident with. But the main thing is that you always, you know, manage risk, keep your losses small, make sure your winners are bigger. These are kind of principles within trading that beforehand that you should know before starting this challenge. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it has provided some education to you, and I hope it really does help with your trading challenge. Like for part 2, I will be dropping a part 2 on the verification process, and if in fact I did pass the verification process. So like for that, and make sure to turn on notifications so that you'll receive a notification for the second video. During the next few months, I'll be dropping a lot of education-based videos around my strategy and my trading, which will help you and will benefit your trading long term. So make sure, you know, you subscribe, as it will help me grow and reach a larger audience. So guys, I hope this video helped. I'll speak to you all soon on the next trading video. Stay safe and have a great day.